very disturbing thing happened during an otherwise joyous holiday season. As part of the new health care law, the government plans to pay doctors extra money to consult with patients on end-of-life decisions. Congressman Paul, one of the most effective defenders of freedom in Washington and himself a physician, is appalled with the idea that our government is going to interfere in these very private and delicate decisions. Joining us now is Congressman Paul. Congressman, Happy New Year to you and welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Thank you, Judge.
Were you surprised when the so-called death panels, professional health care providers that the government will compensate to consult with patients on end-of-life decisions, which were expressly removed from the health care legislation because even Democrats couldn't vote for it, suddenly reappeared on Christmas Eve through a decision of an unelected bureaucrat?
No, you shouldn't be surprised ever. Remember the thing on the abortion issue with Bart Stupak? He said, and when they took that out or tried to appease him, Obama says, I'll do it by executive order. Government's out of control. They just run roughshod, but it's really the Congress's fault because they allow it to happen. We should be able to rescind any of that, any type of regulation. But this is an example, once again, how we have allowed the executive branch to become so powerful.
Well, without getting too much into the weeds and the how it would actually happen, can the Congress rescind this decision by Secretary Sebelius to create these death panels?
In a day. We could do that tomorrow, or the day we get sworn in. You know, we could just pass a law. Of course, it would have to be passed by the Senate and the President sign it. But we could, you know, resist and say that we will not endorse any bill that money would be used for this reason. So the House could, in many ways, block it by refusing to pay those particular fees for that type of consultation.
Rather than a 2,500-page piece of legislation in which the federal government micromanages a good chunk of the economy, which is almost all of the health care in the country. You proposed a very simple, easy to read, easy to understand, free market-based proposal to address health care. Tell us about that proposal.
Well, this proposal means that we can legalize choices, legalize freedom, get out of the government system. That means that you can get into these expanded medical savings accounts, you can get your tax deductions and tax credits, and that you're not forced into it. And also give deductions for these insurance policies that would give you major medical deductions, you know, with large deductions. So there's a lot of ways, and malpractice is a provision in there that takes care of the malpractice insurance as well to compensate for what's going on.
You and I talked recently at a gathering in Washington, D.C. about what the president might do now that he doesn't have a majority in the House and he doesn't have a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate, and that is rule by decree. Have a bureaucrat just issue some edict, much as Mrs. Sebelius did on Christmas Eve. Should we expect more and more of this? Do we have a presidency as a result of what Republicans and Democrats have given to the White House that's out of control and has no respect for the Constitution?
Yeah, I think it's going on. I mean, we've already seen it twice happen with the medical bill. So this is going to happen in all areas, whether it's the EPA, he's done it there. So that's what they expect, and it's up to Congress and the people to say enough is enough and to quit.
We have $14 trillion, or nearly $14 trillion in debt. This week, the Treasury Department is going to formally ask the Congress to raise the debt ceiling. Will the Republican leadership in the House, under any circumstances, go along with this, or will they stick to their guns, as they told us they would during the campaign, and never let the government borrow more money?
Well, I'm worried that they might go along with it, not so much just with the increase in the national debt as much as thinking they're going to get something for it. But this is where the line in the sand ought to be drawn, because this is where you stop it. Don't raise the debt, and we would have to get our house in order. We couldn't pay our bills until we collected some revenues or something like that. We would quit. It would prevent the Fed from monetizing the debt because we wouldn't be spending the money. You cannot raise the national debt. It's the place where we ought to stop it.
Congressman Paul, thanks for joining us, and again, Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. Thank you.
Our next